phase?
I think it signals a lot. I think it signals the fact that you maybe want to play for Peyz a little bit more in terms of being able to generate some pressure down on the bottom side of the map. JDG are just so finicky with how they take their bot lane duos that, to me, you can ban out Braum and expect one thing and get a completely different thing from this team. And it's just kind of been the way that they've been all year long. I'm kind of hearing my advice and banning out the Orianna, banning out the Azir as well. These are the picks, you know, we were talking about for Scout. I think it takes away a lot of those B1 options that he was looking for, but it's actually going to be the takeaway here, the Wukong that we called out.
Yeah, I mean, if you leave that up, I think Shun is immediately going to slam it. So that is a very good comfort space for him. What do GAM want to go for here? If they are going to lean on Levi as a carry jungler, we still need lanes that aren't susceptible to falling behind early and giving Levi space. So what sort of champions are we thinking about in that vein, especially for, for guys like Kiaya and Aress?
I think bot lane early priority makes a lot of sense to me here. It is just going to be the Taliyah as the answer. I think Aress playing Taliyah is good for the team. He hasn't played it across the summer split, but it's certainly something that I imagine he's played a lot of over the course of his career. So you feel pretty good about locking that in, especially with things like the Orianna and the Azir taken out of the equation that can maybe punish it scaling-wise. But, you know, especially expecting the Annie to be the matchup here, it's just about, do you want to combo this with like a Xin Zhao or something that's more skirmish-oriented, or do you want to go for another carry? It's more of what I'm expecting here. It's going to be the Vi. We saw this yesterday.
Okay. Vi Taliyah. Very skirmish, like you mentioned, combo. A lot of power in the mid-game, power across the map as well. Maybe just Scott sort of saying, we're going to try and play to get rid of Peyz again. I wonder if the Vi pickup comes through here partly because you lost Alistar in Game 1 and JDG banned the Braum away. So, like, those are two champions that make Vi very annoying to target AD carry with. I kind of like that read from GAM.
Yeah, I think it makes sense for them here. What I'm really surprised by is we get the Ahri lock-in for Scout on the other side of this matchup. You know, something he's had success on throughout his career, but certainly not what I expected here as the combo with Wukong. Annie very much still viable, and that's kind of been the duo throughout a lot of this year. What I didn't want to see Scout on was this, like, dynamic playmaking roamer. That was the thing I was most concerned about when it came to him, because it's just not something he's ever really been all that good at. Well, here he gets the chance to prove me wrong with this Annie going into, or the Ahri, I should say, going into the Taliyah. Xiaoxu locking that Jax on the top side. This is something we talked about on the pre-show. Something he's kind of put to the back burner since joining JDG, because he's not felt the need to be as much of a lane-dominant player or, you know, a late-game carry, but a pick that certainly has found success for him in the past.
What is Kiai's answer going to be? A Scion to try and just handshake a bit of scaling threat here. I'm happy to see that Xiaoxu was tapping into his carry bag, like you talked about when he was on some of those not as successful LPL teams earlier on in his career. He was kind of a menace on these picks. So let's see if he can take advantage of a very positive matchup. Scout tried to get a big counter into Aress. It doesn't end up working out. So let's move on over to this other solo lane to see if we can get that going as we move on in to the second phase of our draft with likely just more bot lane priority bans here. The Ziggs ban is very intriguing though with a Ahri comp. I guess with two AD skirmishers on the top side, AD based skirmishers on the top side, JDG want to cover for that? Are they just trying to make Peyz pick a champion that's susceptible to Vi? That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I think that is mostly it, right? Is that Ziggs can just kind of ignore Vi for most of the game. You also have a bit of synergy with Ziggs and Jax in the later part of the game to just kind of play off those side lanes and really be that siege comp that you're looking for. But it's these safety picks that want to be taken out if you're GAM. Caitlyn, another one that can just stay far enough range, has enough, you know, peel coming in from a lot of the rest of the team. You don't want him to dominate the 2v2. We saw that earlier on in this series as well. You just got to take Peyz out early and you can focus on other parts of the map. So both of these, I think, make a lot of sense, but a lot of his most played champions are still available. I'll be intrigued to see if he goes towards them. For now, I imagine it will be another hyper carry, whichever one JDG feel is the scariest taken out, that being the Yunara over things like Zeri and, of course, the Jinx that are very playable here as well.
I get the Caitlyn Ziggs ban. I wonder, what is this not just a Peyz Xayah? I think Xayah 100%. Makes this entire plan for GAM very hard. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I think Xayah is the one key miss here that you're looking at. I think the only thing is that Rakan is off the board, so you don't feel quite as scared of that pick. But in terms of tempo, I think Xayah is awesome here. The question is, do you want to play off of that Jax priority? Again, you have that mid-game power spike here with the Wukong and the Ahri that want to be able to find picks, but that Jax kind of feels a bit isolated from that. If you want to play more for these fights, then a hyper carry would make more sense, and that's where I think something like Zeri could come in. I would, definitely be intrigued if they lock this in. It's going to be the Kalista as the answer to Lucian. Kalista Renata will be coming through. So with no Braum as the option, it's likely just going to be Enchanter versus Enchanter on the bottom side of the matchup. Oh God, did I talk us into something else? I don't want to talk about hovers. You're taking over.
No, we're not gonna talk about hovers. What we're gonna talk about is the fact that JDG with this draft are especially the bottom lane Peyz saying, listen, give me the rock. All right, I can pick the Xayah, I can play safe, or I can pick the Kalista and try and just slam this lane. That's now going to be a Lucian Poppy combination. Definitely a unique one coming out from our LCP squad in this matchup.
I kind of like it. I think that this, obviously Poppy into Kalista, you feel pretty good about that. That's always something that you feel gives you a good advantage, but it's not just Kalista. I mean, obviously Wukong, Jax, Ahri, like all of these champions are really susceptible to Poppy if she's able to get in these fights. And what it does is it gives you a lane state that you actually can neutralize. And so this Lucian can actually push out and feel more comfortable to take some of those aggressive mid-game skirmishes that open up Talia and open up Vi to feel, like they can start to fight over objectives. So I don't really hate this at all. The only problem I have with GAM is just, I mean, your Talia Lucian, like your late game is non-existent. You can't even really go up against a Kalista in the later part of the game. So the tempo that they had that did really well for them in the mid game last game, they're gonna have to repeat it here.
They're gonna need to double it up. Where is our damage, bro? We got Poppy, Vi, and Sion from top jungle support. Yeah, you are putting a lot of eggs in the Aress basket and the Artemis basket, who I think quietly he does get one of those MVP votes because of the amount of damage he does. Played a very good Corki game for his standards. Just there was a lot more, bigger uplifting movements from other guys, and when it's kind of like the cornerback fallacy in the NFL. It's like if you don't hear a cornerback on your team or you don't see a cornerback on your team, that actually is a good thing. That means they're doing very well. When your AD carry is not in the center stage of team fights but survives and does a lot of damage, you don't really say his name a lot. That actually is kind of a good thing in the same way, Kman.
Yeah, not everybody can be Diablo at this tournament. I think there's only one of that guy that's kicking around. But hopefully Peyz can, be that X factor for the team, even if it means he's coming from a more, normal perspective. This is a champion that has takeover potential in a game like this. My biggest concern for JDG, though, is that your Jax, your Wukong, your Ahri, your Kalista, your all these dashes into Talia Poppy. Like, that is genuinely, like, a real concern, is that your comp could just be neutralized throughout a lot of this game. So the question is, can Elio get out on the map and start moving around, become more aggressive in terms of the way he wants to play the game? Or is this going to be more of a slower-paced game that ends up favoring JDG that can help that Jax and even that Kalista to an extent reach that late game where they are going to be able to 5v5?
We are on the precipice of something that hasn't happened very often, if at all, in the history books of international League of Legends gameplay. That is an LCP team taking a series off of the LPL. And that could be what we see here if GAM can away the Game 2 win, as we are back on to the Rift here. It's a pretty neutral fan start with some just decent warding around the Raptor pits. Speaking on the early to mid game, one thing that I already want to call attention to here in this game, Kman, especially for JDG, they got to go all out for grubs with a comp like this.
Oh yeah, I think there are very few comps that would lose off of grubs. I think that this is one of those comps that can just punish you so hard for giving that over for free. The only concern is that, are they going to be in a spot to be able to do that? Are they going to be able to fight over it this game? Because it's all really going to be about Levi and how aggressive he wants to be. Artemis and Elio on the bottom side of this map, if they can generate some pressure and again some push like they were able to at times in game number 1, that could be a really, really big problem. You gotta rely on Peyz and Zhuo to actually do their job here.
We're getting cheeky level 1, huh?
Yeah, cheeky.
Elio, he's like, all right, I counter this Kalista. Let's slam him into the wall. Peyz flash cleanses at level 1, but he's looking to turn it back with Zhuo. I think the heal speed up from Elio is really clutch there, so that is a 3-for-1 bargain for GAM's bottom lane on the summoner front.
Yeah, I mean, that's as bad of a level 1 as you can ask for JDG. It's a phenomenal job by Elio to find that unique angle, but no sums on Peyz right now makes this lane so much harder because you cannot play aggressive. You cannot feel comfortable stepping up to this Lucian, who still has barrier. Levi pathing to the bot side as well. Will get spotted on this, but there is like actual real level 3, level 4 gank opportunity down on the bottom side now, and if Artemis is going to be able to generate some tempo, that could be a very, very big problem for GAM. For now, they are getting shoved in, but I don't imagine once the waves equalize out that will be the same way forever.
And now GAM know that Jun is also pathing down here, so maybe that will stop Levi from thinking about getting any further creative with this gank towards the bot side. But the summoner advantage is big there. Maybe they feel comfortable with the 3v3. I'm just still in the driver's seat of GAM. Like, play confident. Do what you feel like is best for your game state here, because that's what won you game number 1. Shun trying to go for a bit of an invade here, but Levi has spotted it with a war. They have Peyz and Zhuo for JDG kind of covering for this blue buff steal. Is Levi going to let this happen, or are they let the bot lanes trade? Oh, the flash, the slam from Elio. The problem is that Jun is here first, and Artemis has to flash away. Levi shows up pretty late to the function. Get a vault breaker forward onto Shun. But man, that could have looked a lot better if Levi didn't fully path around his blue buff. And everyone walks out.
Such a mistake from Levi. I mean, that is a free kill onto the Kalista and onto the Renata as well. That's a free double if he's just there in time, but he's not. He doesn't show up for the fight, and all of a sudden things, kind of neutralize out for JDG. Best case scenario is that those sums aren't popped. Aress now could potentially be in danger. Just gonna flick him away.
Maybe this sets up Levi to double crack. I don't even know if he can do that, because he's gonna have to pick up his blue buff. I mean, at least he doesn't lose his blue buff. Basically, go blue buff Gromp here. Shun is going to be faster, so I don't even think he's going to double crab. And that kind of takes a lot of the wind out of the summoner advantage sails for GAM, because Artemis has to flash away from Shun. So now either marksman is without their flash, and Peyz is going to come back up nearly double as fast. That's the phrase I'm looking for.
I think that's the confusing thing, right? Is that it's clear that Artemis wanted to fight. It's clear that Elio wanted to fight. He flashed in and stunned him against the wall. Levi was just not on the same page as his bot lane. Those are the things that were going the way of GAM in game number 1. And again, the kinds of mistakes you can't really make against JDG and expect to continue to win. Their early games not exactly been the best at this tournament, but Elio continuing to make plays across the map, just looking so aggressive on this Poppy.
Yeah, I'm loving it. If you're going to R5 your support, you want to pick something that's going to have immediate impact for your players and get them in a comfortable spot, and Elio's been everywhere in this early game. It's just a little, it's just a little reminder towards Scout that Elio is going to be around the map constantly with this Poppy, and it's not even like Artemis was really in any danger. Going to get this wave in pretty comfortably. We didn't see any swap shenanigans, which I'm now realizing in this series game. And we've had a lot of AD carry swapping between top and bottom lane, but through our first 2 games of this series, none of that going down.
And not quite on the change yet where you have to wait an extra minute to do so, but certainly something that I would have expected more of. I think the main thing in these matchups is that you're looking at lanes that feel relatively even. Lucian and Kalista both want to play aggressive early. See that from Elio just going in once again.
Problem is that there's really some decent poke. Artemis doesn't have the health for it. That's the problem. He still has the barrier to lean on. It is going to be the heal, I believe, out of Zhuo. So you can trade that heal back out for now. Elio does have that advantage, but got to get on the same page with Elio. I like the plays he's making. GAM need to be behind him.
Yeah, I mean, Elio's looking very aggressive, very fast. Aress, though, maybe in trouble.
Scout, Spirit Rush. To go over the wall here. Needs to hit the charm. Aress is going to get charmed up. Shun, though, doesn't have Cyclone. That could have been a lot bigger. And Scout's used every one of his Spirit Rush charges. He has to flash over a seismic shove there. He's left Shun without his help. Could he use the Trickster to get on out? Good little punish there coming across from Aress, though.
Yeah, definitely a greedy flash from Scout. I think once you burn the Talia flash, that play is over. There's really no way for you to be able to make anything else happen. So Scout going to be pretty lucky that he's able to get out of there alive. But overall, it is just a flash-for-flash trade in terms of the mid laners. Certainly something that I would think favors the Ahri, who should have those dashes available with that ultimate again at some point. But the teleport coming down, it's actually Dragon being started up here by JDG.
Elio, he's hunting for Scout. This is a rare time, and Ahri doesn't have any summoners or dash. All right, that would have been fun if he just slammed him and killed him.
Oh, Zhuo.
Why is Artemis here? Artemis? Is he going to trade Shun out, really? Oh, the bailout? Oh, it's going to save Shun.
Oh, no.
Artemis, there was no reason to be walking through that way. It's going to completely ruin any play towards this dragon. Seems like Elio wants to still go for this. He's wrapping all the way around. Shun senses it. They're going to back off the dragon to get this, but Shun's going to get caught. Elio, he cues the wrong way. It doesn't matter. He still finds the kill. Can Peyz find the trade back, though, with a big red? No. He has to respect the fact that Aress and Levi are nearby. Man, this is an Elio masterclass in the first 7 minutes of our game.
His AD carry might be inting him, but this is support diff right now in favor of Elio. He's looking so good on this Poppy. We're seeing why he felt comfortable R5ing it, and we talked about it in draft. This is an Omega Poppy draft. Like, you can talk about how there's a lack of damage from Talia Lucian throughout a lot of the late game here. This Poppy is never going to struggle to be useful, and we are seeing that gold go over to that support. It might even be the best place for it as we get a replay here. This is a massive mistake from Artemis. He just doesn't have vision that they're actually on this dragon, and so, you know, he walks through the river thinking that they're going to have priority here, but runs into the entirety of JDG. At this point, all he can do is try and trade out, but the bailout is just there. There's no way to be able to prevent that. It's a big positioning mistake, but Elio just picking up the solo bolo on the jungler, being able to kill Shun. At this point, I think it's the right call to disengage. I think it would have been a little bit scary had you re-engaged, and again, the kill going on to Elio in a lot of circumstances would be scary. Not so much here, but JDG starting up on these grubs would be very scary if they got them.
JDG are still with a slight gold lead here. It's really just the support that's making it closer. As Elio again gonna slam Scout into the wall. They're getting the most out of the Halo
Levi's
Blades.
just not here.
Yeah, Levi doesn't care about grubs, and we talked about it right when we got on the Rift. This is not something that I feel very comfortable if I'm GAM just giving over to a Jax team.
I think this is a massive mistake. Like, I don't think you can give this over. I think it's not just Jax, it's Wukong, it's Kalista, it's Ahri. It's so much side lane pressure coming in from the side of JDG. Their waves are not going to be a problem at all this game, and now you have easy access to a lot of these turrets. I think that is ruining a lot of your tempo if you're GAM, and now Kiaya could get dove.
All right, Kiaya. I mean, there's no way to really outplay this as the Scion. Cyclone knockups, and maybe I caster curse to JDG. Zhuo takes 2 turret shots. They're going after Zhuo with a cease and desist coming across here from Levi. I don't think the bailout's going to get here in time as Kiaya goes into the passive state. 1-for-1 trade, but Aress is winning versus Shun on the top side, and Artemis and Elios are here to cover. Artemis gets feats of warfare. What a clapback from GAM after giving away those grubs for what we thought was nothing, but turned out to be something.
Definitely a nice turn there from GAM. Xiaoxu obviously just kind of doing his own thing in a side lane, but a greedy dive onto the Scion. It's not really something that I think you utilize your tempo for in that instance, especially knowing that Vi is likely in the area. Alas, it is GAM who now reaps the rewards and equalizes the gold, but that just gets them back to neutral. It doesn't get them back into a dominating spot. It's all really about can Elio keep staying active here as we look for Scout.
All right, Elio gets the slam into the wall. Elio R5 Poppy is making waves here with GAM looking to keep their ASI tournament alive.
This has been one of the better Poppy support games I can remember. Elio looks so comfortable on the champ moving around the map, and even with Artemis making some mistakes in this game, he's got a pretty significant lead under his belt at this point. This is why you want to draft the Lucian in this game. It's why you felt comfortable banning out things like Caitlyn and things like Ziggs that wanted to take away that early priority for Peyz, because you needed to put him into a position where he had to fight Artemis and had to fight Elio, and right now, it's Elio who's making the best of that situation as Peyz just going to try and get as much gold as he can in the mid lane. Dragon in a minute and a half, that's going to be another major objective, but with GAM up 1k gold, they could be favorites for it.
Can I just say something that I find hilarious about the state of support items? Elio is playing Halo Blades Poppy, which could, use a lot of damage or tankiness, but because Redemption's so OP, he as long with every other support, has to rush this item.
Yeah, it got nerfed, and it's still the most broken item in the game. It's just ridiculous how valuable Redemption is right now, and it's just, you gotta build it. If you're a support main and you're not building Redemption, you're doing it wrong. Scout looks for the play, but misses the charm.
Good luck. Good luck. I mean, it's still big to force Aress out of this lane without TP. Like, maybe... Yeah. I was thinking he might have to Weaver's Wall back up here, but I guess Scout doesn't have a lot more burst threat. And it's also the part that Levi's here to cover, so just a decent look from Scout, but not able to turn that into a kill.
Yeah, really not much Scout can do at this point. He's burned most of his cooldowns, and now Scout is actually in danger. He doesn't have vision of this.
He has Flash, but I think Levi's just going to ult first and then look to Vault Breaker. That's
down.
A great layering. They got the seismic shove with the Vault Breaker down through. Levi punishing Scout for missing that charm. You don't kill me. You better best bet we're coming back for you, Scout.
Kiaya taking a bit of damage. It should be just fine on the Scion here as this play is made. Slayer, I gotta tell you, GAM's mid-games are just better than JDG's. I don't even think it's really all that debatable throughout these two games. It's actually ridiculous how clinical they've been at being able to find these picks and find these, pockets of gold on the map to keep growing their lead. They're certainly not resting on their laurels, but they gotta keep it going, even more so than in the previous game. I think you really fall off in terms of damage in this one, so it's important to make sure that you continue to make these plays happen, but GAM looking good in Game 2.
And I think that's a great point to make, Kman, because what kind of saved GAM with how long, remember we went 40+ minutes in that game 1 where we were talking about GAM as the mid-game team, was they had a scaling insurance policy. They had Aress on the rise, right? That is not here. That will not be here. There's no insurance policy scaling beside, oh, our Scion's going to be really tanky.
Yeah, it's the late game looks bad. I think that the win condition for GAM in the late game is that Poppy is just Omega, and you have enough damage with Lucian, but can they stop the back of Xiaoxu? They do.
Man, you're just calling it over and over again, Kman. The pick potential of this team is ludicrous right now. Xiaoxu, that slam is not actually going to get against a wall, and he's going to be able to flash out, so maybe, we had to even the caster curse out a bit there. Caster curse GAM on their pick play there towards the bot side, but it's still 2 dragons to none for GAM, something that we saw happen when we were talking about the scaling once again of this matchup.
And let's remember, in Game 1, JDG even had the dragon stacking under them. That was another win condition that we felt could be played towards them. They're losing that battle here in Game number 2. They should have the resources to be able to fight in the late game, but let's not pretend like they have an Omega late game comp either. They picked Kalista, Ahri, Wukong, so you want to go for some of these exchanges early, and they're just not making it work. Really, at this point, it's Xiaoxu or bust on the top side of the map with this Jax. He does have 3 grubs, and he can play for side lanes, but this is likely going to be a split push kind of game for JDG.
That's why those grubs are going to be a big factor. Xiaoxu, the only member with a gold lead over his opponent, as GAM sit about 2,000+ gold ahead at this current point. Xiaoxu that needs to be such a big factor on the split pushes. We get another pause. It's okay, everybody. If you missed Game 1, it does seem like the unfortunate remote aspect of our tournament, making it a little bit harder on our LCP representatives. Yeah.
Oh, we're back.
I didn't even get to get through the whole thing. So if you join late, all right, guys. All right, listen.
Trolling us.
I was trying to be nice, like make sure nobody starts mauling in the chat about pauses. GAM, you can't be pulling my leg like that. I still didn't get through it. All right, you know what, Kman? Let's just go back. I'm defeated.
What pause? Yeah, what pause? Honestly, all I can see is that we are in game, and I think everyone blacked out for the last 10 seconds, and now JDG are looking to make a play on the top side here.
All right. It's so funny. It's so funny to think about. All right, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to go for it. If we pause again, it's probably because GAM are having network issues because we're in remote. Everybody just keep that in mind. See, Producer Adam, I got through it, and there wasn't another pause, so it wasn't my fault, okay?
I don't know what you're talking about, Slayer.
Plausible deniability.
Sure we've just been playing the game the whole time. So.
Plausible deniability. Smart strategy, my friend. I can't blame you for that strat.
No, of course. But,
look who's messing up now. It's Producer Adam. They can't throw his lower thirds up in time. All right, we're going to have to stop here because Shun's about to pop over the wall. Shun's about to pop over the wall and look for a gank here onto Aress and Artemis, but Aress has sniffed it out. He's still going to have to eat the Cyclone here. Shun trying to get close enough for a handshake, but Shun's going to get enough damage down on his own to just kill off Aress, but it's Elio trying to be the hero. There's no Trickster. There's a redemption here for Shun. Levi going to look to try Vault Breaker over the wall, it feels like, but this play is kind of disintegrating. Fate's Call and the hostile takeover are both going to whip, and they throw Joel right at Artemis for the trade kill. Scout going into the back line, going to find one trade back, but Levi is going to get a kill back here for GAM as well. Artemis is untouched. Remember, JDG are in between the 2 GAM turrets. Triple kill to Artemis.
That fight looked so unbelievably doomed. I can't even begin to explain it. They had their mid laner get 1v1'd by the Wukong on the other side of the map. Their jungler and AD carry don't have comms on the same Discord. Whatever is going on, it is working for GAM right now because they are able to pick up the win in that fight. It is absolutely insane stuff. It really just comes down to a hands check and a big mistake from Peyz throwing his teammate to his own death in that fight. I just cannot understand it. We're going to get a replay here. The Wukong engage is gorgeous. He just 1v1s this to Leah. Kalista, and all of a sudden this fight should be instantly won if you are JDG from this point onwards. Artemis does a good job pumping out damage onto the Wukong to make sure this is a more difficult engage, but look at the Vi. Not going in here. Artemis is trying to do as much as possible, but no Vi. Once Artemis flashes out, that's when Levi ends up going in, but Zhuo just doesn't have the damage to be able to turn this. Now, Artemis must think the fight is over because he's gone, and he's realizing, oh, I gotta come back and actually win this now. Levi does buy enough time for the Lucian to return, and eventually they are going to be able to pick this up, but it's just such a mistake. Peyz was one auto off from being able to pick up the kill. 28 HP there for the Kalista to be able to pick up that kill.
Also, Scout and Peyz each take a turret shot because they're fighting in between tier 1 and 2 turrets. Like, why are we even doing this?
Oh my goodness, it's a complete fiesta. Everything that could happen is happening right now, and I mean that in both the good and the bad way, but the important thing here is that it's 5 kills on Artemis's Lucian. We talked about the lack of damage going into the late game. I think that problem has been rectified.
All right. Okay, we go back into live here, and Scout is using 2 Spirit Rush charges already as a dive looks to come across. Shun's here to cover. Levi and Elio are both in the area. Levi has the Herald. I don't even think they need to use it to knock down this top lane tier 1 turret. They're going to drop it nonetheless. Maybe they'll look to make a 2-for-1 trade, but that's going to put Artemis in a pretty uncomfortable position trying to cover the mid lane. Yep, there goes Levi, and there goes Xiaoxu going after Artemis. He's going to flash to get the Counter-Strike stun, and the 5-kill Lucian is 2 deaths down now as he goes into the gray screen again, and this is going to look very promising for JDG if they can get this mid-tier 2 turret down. Elio's going to bunt out 2. He's going to try and kill off Xiaoxu on his own. Oh, sweet Elio. You're trying to be the hero with no damage in your kit.
That's a pretty big problem for GAM. The map is completely opened now for JDG. I mean, getting mid lane tier 2 is ginormous for being able to increase your pressure. That's free dragon now for JDG as well to stop the push. It's a greedy play coming in. They're going to trade bot lane towers in that same vein. This is not a bad turn of events for JD Gaming. In fact, it's probably the best thing that could have happened on the map for them.
It's just perfect timing too, right? Because that dragon is going to really kneecap that win con of the Mountain Soul too. Extends this comp that is so suspect in the later game. I mean, that's a 3-for-2 turret swing. You get a shutdown off of Artemis. And a lot of that gold goes over to Xiaoxu, who, again, I think is just going to be so integral for JDG on the side lanes as this game progresses.
Yeah, I mean, that's it, right? If you're we said it earlier, you're talking about a JDG win condition. It's that Jax, it's Xiaoxu in the side lane. He's got to be the hero, the main character in this one. And so far, he's doing a pretty good job of putting himself in the spot to do so. It's really just about can the team keep him in a position where he can, push forward with those grubs. One thing I do really want to note is that the level difference already on the side of GAM is very noticeable. Artemis is up basically 2 levels on Peyz. It's kind of been equalized a bit from that play, but certainly something to note that GAM is in a spot where they should be able to fight now, and that Otacon becomes even more of a priority spawning in 40 seconds for JDG to be able to contest so they don't fall too far behind there.
Otacon has been a huge talking point with LPL teams. We've seen so many bombastic throws of leads and games at that spot. Let's see. Let's try to assess the item points. But oh my God, Peyz.
Oh,
Peyz is getting deleted. Flashes, redemption. He is going to get the heal here, but he can't cleanse the cease and desist, and Levi picks up the kill. Peyz picked off at such a critical juncture. How do JDG stop an Otacon play now?
It's impossible. This is Otacon over to GAM unless you give up a free steal. The only concern right now is that Xiaoxu is going to get a lot for this on the bottom side of the map, depending on how you want to react. But GAM should be able to pressure out this Otacon relatively freely, hopefully not giving up too much. It looks like JDG want to try and contest, though. Maybe a steal.
Elio's going to take a full combo from Scout, re-engage onto Shun. There's a good flick back into the knockup from Kiaya. They just lock Shun in place. Otacon is free now. It's Xiaoxu that's trying to be the hero on the split side, like you talked about. This is a plus gold trade for JDG, but huge XP gains to GAM, 32-9 in the pedals.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nightmarish scenario for JDG. It basically eliminates any chance they have of actually winning a team fight throughout the rest of this game. If we thought that the split push win condition was important before, it is significantly more important now because you're going to be down a whole level throughout the rest of this game with that pedal difference, with that Otacon going over. And it's just another feather in GAM's cap. Their macro this series has been phenomenal, and it's something that we've seen JDG really struggle to keep up with.
Can it be enough to push them over the finish line here? Because This is still a game state that JDG can recover from. They're still waiting on a lot of clutch itemization for maybe Scout to come through. He goes the Blackfire Torch route, so there's not a lot of burst for this Ari. And it's, again, Xiaoxu. He's 2 items with Sunder Sky. He has the stasis to try and buy him more time, as that pesky Jax always likes to do. But you've got a Rallies Seraph's combo on this Talia. And huge point of emphasis here with how low damage GAM are going to be. Artemis is soon to have this IE. This Lucian is really going to start hurting a non-tank comp once that comes through.
Yeah, it's really going to be a bit of a problem for JDG because they don't really have anybody on the front line. They have absolutely no one that can deal with this damage coming through. Again, we talk about the low damage comp from GAM, and it is low damage, but it's only low damage if you're hitting into, I don't know, a Scion or something like that. You want to break through Renata? Wukong? Like, yeah, you can do that. You can figure that out. So, you know, obviously that's going to be a problem. We do see the Grasshopper, though, keeping the faith right now on JDG. Just kidding.
No,
he's completely switched the allegiance. We got to get him off the screen. We got to get him off the screen.
This guy's got absolute zoomies like Shun does. He's going in after Artemis. Scout gets knocked out of his first Spirit Rush with a hostile takeover. Hits onto 2. Elio's down first. Kohler comes across from Artemis. But Kiaya cannot get out. Good pick found there from Shun, and now JDG can march down the mid lane looking for more.
Shun with a huge pick, but Xiaoxu is genuinely ginormous on this Jax. The damage he's able to output is ridiculous. He has his Seeker's Arm Guard completed as well, so even if he ever is in danger, he's really not. This is a very scary proposition, a big pick for JDG, and that likely just got them back into the game.
Just no way to get Artemis close enough with all that action. The one thing that really changed that skirmish that we were so critical of JDG with on the top side, I thought, was the fact that Fate's Call got 0 value and Hostile Takeover hit nobody. So I always talk about whenever you can get a Renata in the game, there are a few ultimates that I think are so fight-altering, like this Hostile Takeover. You saw the value it had in that last fight, and it's what JDG are going to look to routinely lean on going forward. We just got to hope that we don't get the classic Zhuo positioning mistakes here, especially on an Enchanter where those are even rougher to swallow.
Certainly can't afford to make those mistakes. Gotta remember, JDG not in the worst spot in the world here. Jax is so strong if you can let him fight you. Now, if you just kind of let him jump on the back line, it's going to be a pretty free, easy win for JDG. So definitely still looking at them as a real big threat. Only a 1K gold difference, and this Dragon is massive. This could be a game-altering fight.
Hostile Takeover is not back just yet. A Zhuo on Tote is going to get picked off. Fate's Call has come out for Peyz to try and save him. Keeper's Verdict is going to punt out the Ari. Levi going after Zhuo. He's down first. Xiaoxu's onto the back line, though. He gets rid of Artemis. That's a huge damage boost coming away from GAM. It's Xiaoxu that just has to be the hero here. He's standing 1 versus 4, but he has the counter-strike. He has the stasis, but he's stunned up against the wall, and he's going to be cut down. Elio finds the pick, and now the Weaver's Wall comes out for Aress to rout Shun away from his one escape point. It's Elio, the early game hero again, making play after play. Ace to GAM Esports.
That could be the dagger in the chest of JD Gaming as they fall in the most important of spots. Xiaoxu can do a lot, but he can't do everything. It's a huge mistake made by Zhuo to start off that fight. We're going to get a replay of it here. He just gets seismic shoved by the Talia, and you cannot be in that position to make that mistake. It forces out the Kalista ultimate in here. The moment that Scout gets ejected with the Keeper's Verdict from this fight, it becomes so difficult to play. The Poppy value is so immense. Elio is obviously playing it absolutely beautifully, but this champion just does so much against the comp of JDG here, and even with Scout re-entering this fight, you think there could potentially be a turn, but Xiaoxu is locked up again by Elio and by Poppy. The damage comes through, and the moment that Jax goes down, this fight is cooked. It's doomed. Elio is carrying this game for GAM, and they are looking to take it to a 2-0 series win.
I was just waiting for it. We've seen it before with Xiaoxu on this Jax. The stasis with the counter-strike up, buying time, but Elio, this Poppy, an MVP-like performance, called for it on R5. We were wondering, what the hell do you pair with this Lucian? He doesn't care about who the AD carries next to him. He cares about getting his team a series win when they need it most.
Just insane. Like, he's been so good in this game, it's ridiculous. And obviously JDG are making mistakes. You can even talk about, you know, someone like Scout dashing in at the end of that fight on Ari. That's obviously not ideal. You don't want that to happen. The positioning has just not been good enough, but it shouldn't really matter. You should be better than a team like GAM from a hands perspective. Right now, GAM are winning the hands check, and they're certainly winning the macro check in terms of how these two teams are playing. GAM has just been better here today.
And now some of those items we were talking about being so critical to this composition for GAM are online. It's Levi with the GA, the IE from Artemis, and they've got Peyz again. The hostile takeover doesn't stall enough time for the bailout. Peyz is taken out of this fight. It's Xiaoxu's got a TP on the back end. Ensemble Onslaught's going to miss. Shu gets a ton of knockup value. It needs to be Xiaoxu. Flashes to get a three-man Counter-Strike stun, but Artemis gets out, and they cancel the top. It's Elio again to rescue GAM at the end of a fight. All members of the LCP representative are up, and they're forcing even more flashes. It's World gets out of a seismic shove. It's Kiaya holding them all at bay, but they don't need to chase any further. They have the purple worm to dance with in victorious fashion.
GAM are just better. There is nothing left to say. Levi with a phenomenal angle to delete Peyz from the map, not even give him a chance to use those 3 kills that he's acquired over the course of this game. And Elio once again coming up clutch. What a game from him here in game number 2 as we see the replay. This is a great look. You want to find these picks. You're playing Vi. You want to get out on the map and find this Kalista overextended for the 2nd time this game. A massive mistake positioning-wise from Peyz. At this point, it looks like Levi's actually in a bit of danger, but he's got the Guardian Angel, so he knows he's going to be fine no matter what. Elio does a good job of trying to keep Xiaoxu out of this fight for as long as possible. He eventually gets in, but look at the Poppy value. It's just ridiculous how good this champion is into this comp, and once again, it's Elio's play. It's the kid. It's everything coming together for GAM to route this one.
Tons and tons of gold ahead. Baron on 5, and Mountain Soul available for them right as this Baron power play is going to come off of the board for GAM. What is really left for GAM to go through besides taking this Nexus and taking this series?
I mean, right now, it's just pushing down in the mid lane. Levi already pushing Shun out of his own jungle. Just has to give that thumbs up emote. They can go to whatever lane they want to play for right now. This 4-1, this 2-lane setup is very effective for comps like this that don't necessarily have the easiest way to play. They want to try and get on the Kiaya. That's a huge mistake.
Kiaya drifts through that tiny gap. Yeah, I mean, now it's, you thought it was going to be a 4-1 mid lane per usual. Nope, they're going to push down towards the bot side. Keeper's Verdict is going to whip there from Elio. So GAM kind of need to slow their roll. I don't think they need to worry about breaking the base of JDG open right now. They're getting waves up so they can reset here and then set up for this Mountain Drake. They actually do get that bot side tier 3 turret. How does Levi get in there to grab that? Why did JDG let that happen?
I think it's just so low health, and at that point you really just need to make sure the minions are in range to be able to deal with it. They are going to be able to pick up a ton of gold. They're 10k up right now onto JDG. Like you said, that Mountain Dragon, that Mountain Soul spawning in 20 seconds already feels like it's basically over, but when you're staring down the barrel of even a Scion, Poppy, Vi with Mountain Soul, good luck being able to break through that with Ahri damage, with Kalista late game damage. So, we'll see what JDG can do, but this is likely the game.
Last dance for JD Gaming to stop themselves getting swept out by GAM Esports. The dragon has been uprooted. Artemis going to start it up. Kiaya and Aress are going to try and play bodyguard here. Great Weaver's Wall from Aress. It's going to force dashes over the wall. Xiaoxu first. Keeper's first. They keep shooting out. He doesn't even get a chance at the Mountain Soul. Secured here by GAM. Xiaoxu going to try and go to the back end after Artemis, but he doesn't even get stunned up. The stasis is too late. Artemis is untouched and going to free fire. Hostile takeover is only going to hit onto 1, but JD Gaming don't have a dog in this fight anymore. It's time for GAM to make League of Legends esports history and take down the LPL for the first time ever in a best of 3.
GAM do it. They defy the odds. They live up to the expectations. One of the historic organizations in League of Legends history has been able to do it all. It just barely doesn't get the interrupt there, but it should not matter. The death timers are too long. GAM is sieging down the bottom of the base here. And GAM, the Grasshopper, agrees, are going to pick up one of the biggest wins in their franchise history.
We talk about the ASI as a new tournament that is sort of, has for fun stakes in it with some of these picks, but that doesn't mean that history still can't be made here. It won't come across just yet. GAM are going to play patiently with the respawn timers, but a good catch from Aress forces the Cyclone out of Shun. But GAM, they have such great resolve right now. They're not willing to give an inch knowing how far ahead they are. And they're going to let JD Gaming live for a little bit longer unless Aress finds a two-man seismic shove again. And now it's Kiaya into the background. There is Peyz going down. Maybe they were just laying a trap, a false sense of security for JD Gaming. And here it is. For the first time in history, the LCP will take a series off of the LPL, and it's GAM Esports to write themselves into the history book.
This is massive. It's the perfect team to do it. JDG can't get it done today. GAM keep their tournament hopes alive.
Group A just got a whole lot more interesting after GAM start our day 3 with a 2-0 over JD Gaming.
Oh boy. Yeah, I mean, holy. I mean, I'm floored. I'm flustered. I'm taken aback. Whatever term you want to say, you know, GAM pick up the win here. Important to note, this is the first, LCP win over, an LPL team in a best of 3 or better. We have seen, of course, the best of 1 win earlier this year at First Stand with CFO,
format.
But the best of 3, like, this is a 2-0. I mean, this is a dominant series for GAM. They were the better team in both of these games. It's not debatable. They had better macro. They had better hands. And they looked excellent here. And you want to know what this means for the group? It means that JDG are sitting at 1-2. It means that GAM are sitting at 1-1. Let's say they lose to DK, and let's say Weibo pulls off like a miracle upset. No, actually, let's say DK get the job done, right? Oh, we're sitting at a 3-way tie
for 1-2. For 3-way tie for 1-2, and hats off to the casters to take over for us to break that down, because the DK game will be at the end of the day. So we'll basically have the entirety of Group A almost fully sorted. I think only tomorrow we'll need GAM plus D against D plus Kiaya to finally figure that one out. But yeah, I kind of hoped we wouldn't get to this point, because now we definitely need to figure out if it's a game score head-to-head. I will say the graphics from the mainstream we've been seeing have shown the plus-minus game score, so I do think it is game score. But I do want to say that with how little games we play with a group of 4, 1 round robin, Kman, you said this earlier, I'm going to steal your thunder. There's a very real possibility where we have tied game scores.
Oh my goodness, if we end up with a 1-2 3-way tie and all of them are sitting at 2 and 4, oh goodness, would that just be
right
the
now,
most
look at GAM and
ridiculous thing in the
Weibo.
world.
So here's the thing, right? So GAM, man, okay, so GAM and Weibo both have to play DK. If you want to infer that DK is the Mad Titan and is going to 2-0 everybody here, GAM and Weibo could very likely be 1-2, -2 each, and that's going to be a heartbreaker for GAM because they did lose to the LCP team in Group A.
Oh boy, things got a lot more interesting today, Slayer. This is perhaps just the most unbelievable result we could have gotten, and certainly the one that makes the rest of this tournament as interesting as possible. If we thought this was going to be boring, if we thought this was going to be predictable with these teams going head-to-head, no, it's the complete opposite. It is literally anybody's series, and you're absolutely right. We've set it up now where if anyone can upset DK in this group, if Weibo or somehow, someway GAM can pick up the miracle win, they guarantee themselves a spot in top 2.
A lot of stakes in Group A. What if you're D plus Kiaya here, Kman? You're just like sitting there watching your three other friends fight it out, and you're just sitting over there like enjoying an ice cream cone. It's like,
yeah,
you guys figure it out. I'm gonna be over here. Let's go back through some of these replays because, like you mentioned, a lot of credit here to GAM, but this fight in particular, JDG, what are we doing?
Yeah, I mean,
right
it's
here.
insane. Like, yeah,
right
this
here.
is terrible. I mean, the tower shots are completely unacceptable. The positioning is a disaster class from Scout, even from Peyz, who takes that tower shot there. It's the worst case scenario. And this is with GAM being completely disconnected. I want to reiterate, during that fight, Artemis is walking away. He's like done with the fight. He's completely given up on it. And he just walks back and ends up picking up a triple kill in the fight. You end up getting a nice little turn here. Xiaoxu was very strong in this game on the Jax. It just didn't really matter. You get to a point in the game where it's basically impossible to be able to play this out. You get one positioning mistake from Douyu here. You have multiple from Peyz throughout this series and this game. That's enough. And really, at the end of the day, we gotta spotlight the main character. We gotta spotlight Elio on this Poppy.
Okay, man. I've gotten upset over a lot of MVP picks, okay? I've gotten very heated. Actually, I don't think I've gotten too heated. if Elio gets robbed here, I'm gonna be very angry, and I'm very afraid it's gonna happen because supports like the box score merchants, the stat line merchants, like Elio's stat line is like fine. It's not the point. I really hope it doesn't take away.
What would this guy have to do? I mean, if this isn't player of the game, like if this isn't your MVP,
right
like,
here,
genuinely.
Ready? Oh, see you later.
Rats, I'm Jackson, I can't play the game. Or also, have you heard of I'm Wukong and I can't play the game? Or perhaps maybe I'm Callista and I can't play the game. Or
perhaps Ari and I can't play the game.
It's just brutal.
The final fight for this Mountain Soul here too. It's just GAM woke up today angry, and look, there's another Elio play, keeper's verdict, right? I do want to give credit to Aress though. He was what do you call it? Clutch factor, like the Rise game. Those ending fights were huge. They were very far ahead. They were probably going to win the game, but to call it here with flicking back 3 people in a row. All right. Okay, I thought we were going to get MVP. Interesting. I wonder if there's some deliberation. Usually when we come out of the highlights, they're running the MVP already. Is there a split? My blood pressure is rising by the second.
Levi, I swear, if you stole this from my guy Elio, I'm gonna be so mad.
I feel like it would be Artemis that might take it. I mean, 80 carry box score. Stat line.
I don't think I could handle Artemis getting it after this early game. I think I might have a little bit of a conniption. Credit to Artemis, he played really well in the late game, but we talked about Aress a little bit in the mid lane in terms of what he was able to do in the team fights. He kind of scouted Scout in this one in terms of how he played the game. He ran the early game, had absolutely no pressure and no tempo on the map, went 0-3 in the first game, got perma-ganked, and in game 2 he wasn't really doing all that great in terms of CS and tempo either, and then just like team fought like a genius, was absolutely perfect. Like, you want to talk about like Scout, like that's a Scout kind of game, and he just did it directly to him.
Yeah, I want to give you props. You came into this draft like, all right, guys, let's get. Oh man, we're already interviewing Levi.
We're in interview.
Where's my MVP? Oh no way, man! We didn't skip it, right? Like where?
Anything to take away support contribution. Anything to take away the value that these guys bring.
Oh man. Okay. All right. I'll take this time to stat correct ourselves here. It kind of takes a little bit of the wind out of our sails here, Kman. That wasn't technically the first time an LCP team beat an LPL team in a best of 3. Funnily enough, the Oysters, CFO, we already talked about. Sorry, LPL fans. 2-0 top esports at first stand. So it has happened before. But shout out to Nymera and Alk for pointing this out now. This is the first time a Vietnamese team has taken a series versus the LPL. So we've got that.
Well, and think about how good like Vietnam was for such a long time in League of Legends. Like for this to be the first time ever that a team from this region has been able to even take a best of 3 against an LPL team, it's still an impressive accomplishment. However you want to slice it, right? Like, this is not something that should have happened. If you want to, get caught up in the nitty-gritty, that's all fine. But, like, this is absolutely not a result that anybody anticipated going into this. People looked at the LCP teams as pushovers, especially GAM, who I think had a really tough showing on day number 1. But this bounce back, I mean, I can't stress this enough. I know I'm repeating myself a little bit here. They didn't just win. Like, they dominated this series. They were better. They were better in every aspect. It wasn't just JDG underperforming. The macro, the calls, everything looked great from them.
Everything did look amazing here. What a statement for GAM. I hope we find out later in the night. We'll do some deep diving to figure out where the MVP went. I will voice my frustration on Twitter if it does go to Levi. I know we saw them interviewing Levi. They might have just been interviewing Levi because he was the Game 1 MVP, and he's kind of like a vocal leader. I feel like Levi's usually the guy you talk to when you talk to GAM. Maybe I'm just coping. Just stay locked to my Twitter at SlayerCast. You see it down there. If our GOAT Elio got robbed, I'll make sure to at you as well, Kman. That, though, Kman, you know what? Here's my favorite part. That is the last Slayer Kman cast that you guys will be able to see here in 2025, and we go out in the history books here, Kman. So Final words from you before we take an extended break and hand the reins over to some other casters.
Yeah, some guys. It's always a pleasure, Slayer. We've gotten to work a lot over the course of this year together a lot. The Slayman Rocks duo has been a lot of fun, and you know, I'm definitely I'm glad we got to close it out on a high note.
Yeah, high note indeed, but the action keeps rolling, and I know a lot of you fans there are looking at our final match of the day, which is going to be D+Kia versus Weibo. But before we get to that point, we do have a second match to get to as well, and you'll have a second pair of casters to take you guys through that. So we are going to depart here. It's been a pleasure, everybody. Get ready for Mazel and Alk Battery to take you guys through the rest of the ASI Day 3 action.